Abandoned World Earth's seat in the Galactic Council had always remained empty. For centuries, no one had dared to sit in it. The galaxy's most powerful and advanced civilizations knew of Earth, but no one truly understood why it was kept silent, isolated and forgotten. The empty seat on the Council had become a symbol of mystery and fear. Many had tried to probe Earth's past, but every time they were met with resistance, ancient barriers that kept them from uncovering the truth. No one spoke about it openly, but rumors spread across the stars. Alien civilizations whispered, among themselves cautioning each other about the forbidden planet. Some believed that Earth had once been home to a powerful civilization, one that had the potential to shake the foundations of the galaxy. Others believed that Earth was a cursed place, a world that had fallen victim to its own destructive power. The Galactic Council, the most powerful assembly of alien species, had long known of Earth's existence. But despite their vast influence, they never intervened or offered any help. Earth's seat on the Council had been deliberately left unfilled. The decision was made long ago by the ancient leaders of the Council, who were afraid of what Earth might bring to the table. They chose to leave Earth behind, letting it remain in the shadows of history. As the centuries passed, Earth faded from the collective memory of the galaxy. It became a distant legend, barely remembered by the newer generations. The planet was left alone, its once great cities now covered in the dust of time and its inhabitants long gone. But even in its silence, Earth's presence continued to haunt the galaxy. There were stories told in hushed tones, stories of ancient technology, forgotten weapons, and a power that had been lost to time. The galaxy had turned its back on Earth, but Earth's secret had not been forgotten. The mystery of Earth began to stir again when an unexpected event took place. A strange signal was picked up from the far reaches of space. It wasn't like anything the Galactic Council had ever encountered before. The signal was old, but it was unmistakably a message. The Council quickly gathered to discuss this mysterious signal. Was it a call from Earth? Had someone or something survived there? The questions echoed in the minds of the galaxy's leaders. Earth had been abandoned, but the signal hinted at something more. The ancient planet may not have been as empty as it seemed. The Galactic Council convened a special meeting. The leaders of the galaxy's most powerful races, including the Zorathians, the Breliths, and the Pyrox, sat in a circle, looking down at Earth's empty seat. Each race had its own fears and theories about Earth's past, but none of them dared to fill the seat. They had kept their distance from Earth, unsure of what it truly held. As the leaders discussed the mysterious signal, an uneasy silence fell over the room. The galaxy's most advanced minds had always avoided Earth, but now they found themselves drawn to it once again. What had happened to the once great planet? What secrets had been left behind? The Council had abandoned Earth, but it seemed that Earth was not done with them yet. For the first time in millennia, the eyes of the galaxy were turning back to Earth. But the question remained, would they find what they feared most? Or would the mystery of Earth remain forever unsolved? The empty seat on the Galactic Council, once a symbol of abandonment, now seemed to hold the weight of a secret too powerful for any civilization to ignore. The truth about Earth's silence. The galaxy was never prepared for the discovery that followed the strange signal from Earth. What had once been dismissed as a forgotten world, lost to time, was now a center of intense curiosity and growing fear. As the Galactic Council convened to decode the mysterious signal, no one realized how deeply this one event would shift the balance of power in the universe. The signal itself was peculiar, not like anything the Council had ever intercepted. It wasn't just a random burst of static or a malfunctioning transmission. It carried a clear, deliberate pattern. Hidden in the static was a message too cryptic to understand fully, but one that had triggered an alarm across every corner of the galaxy. It wasn't merely a call for help or a distress signal. It seemed to be a warning. A group of explorers selected by the Council was sent to investigate Earth, a planet no one had dared to visit in centuries. Their mission was simple: find the source of the signal and uncover what was hidden beneath the dust of Earth's long-abandoned cities. They arrived, their ship entering Earth's atmosphere, ready to land on a world that had been a myth for so long. When they stepped onto Earth's surface, they found themselves surrounded by ruins, ancient cities half swallowed by nature, silent, reminders of a lost civilization. The explorers moved cautiously through the landscape, their equipment scanning for any signs of life or danger. The air was thick with an unsettling stillness, as though Earth itself was holding its breath. The deeper they ventured into the ruins, the more they sensed something was off. There was no trace of the powerful civilization that Earth was once rumored to have been home to. No signs of technology that could explain its abandonment. And yet every piece of evidence they uncovered pointed to something far more unsettling. A weapon, a force, a power that had been hidden beneath Earth's surface for centuries. As they dug further, they unearthed ancient artifacts, some of which were beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. These were not ordinary relics. They were remnants of technology so advanced that even the most sophisticated civilizations could not comprehend them. There were devices that seemed to manipulate time, strange machinery that pulsed with an energy unlike any other, and weapons that seemed to hum with latent power, waiting for something to trigger them. Then, in the heart of what appeared to be an ancient temple, they discovered it. The central chamber deep beneath the surface where Earth's secret lay. The walls were covered in intricate symbols, glowing faintly with a strange energy. And at the center of the room stood an enormous structure, a mechanism that had been dormant for millennia. The explorers realized, with dawning horror, that this was no ordinary weapon. It was a living entity, an ancient, self-sustaining machine, created to protect Earth from any external threat, no matter the cost. The truth was staggering. Earth had not been abandoned because it had fallen into ruin or lost its significance. It had been abandoned because it was too dangerous. The Galactic Council had known about this power for centuries, and they had deliberately left Earth out of their reach, fearing what would happen if it was ever activated. The signal was a key, a final call for the power to awaken, and the explorers had just unlocked it. But the question remained: what would happen now that Earth's secret had been uncovered? Would the galaxy finally face the consequences of its decision to keep Earth hidden? Or had the power that lay dormant on Earth been triggered for a far more terrifying purpose, one that no one could predict? The galactic fear. The galaxy had always been a place of competition, but when Earth's signal reached the stars, a new kind of fear spread like wildfire. For centuries, the galaxy's most powerful races had lived with a shared understanding. Earth was a mystery best left untouched. Now that mystery was unraveling, and the consequences were far more terrifying than anyone had imagined. The Galactic Council, already trembling from the discovery of the ancient weapon beneath Earth's surface, convened an emergency session. The leaders of the galaxy's most influential races, each with their own agendas and ambitions, sat in a tense silence. They were united by one thing: fear of Earth. The Zorathians, known for their technological prowess, whispered nervously among themselves. They were a race that had built empires on the foundations of war and conquest. But even they had always avoided Earth, sensing something dark and unknown lurking beneath its surface. The Brayliths, with their psychic abilities, felt a disturbance in the fabric of reality itself as Earth's power began to stir. And the Pyrox, a race of fire-wielding warriors, had long avoided Earth's seat on the Galactic Council, knowing that the planet's presence in the galaxy had always been a reminder of something far older, something more powerful than their greatest weapons. Now those who had once feared Earth's silence were realizing that their fears had been justified. The signal had been clear, and it had triggered something that could no longer be ignored. Earth's power, once thought to be lost, was not only intact, it was growing. The ancient weapon, the living entity buried deep beneath the planet, had awakened, and it was not alone. As news spread across the galaxy, panic began to spread in ways no one had expected. The once mighty civilizations, which had stood at the top of the galactic hierarchy for eons, were now faced with the reality that Earth had the potential to reshape the balance of power. The weapon that had once been hidden was now an open threat, one that could dismantle the fragile alliances the galaxy had built over the centuries. The Council leaders knew that Earth's emergence would bring a flood of questions and consequences. What would Earth do now that its secret had been exposed? Would it seek revenge for its isolation? Or worse, would it assert its dominance and force the galaxy into submission? Behind the closed doors of the Council, whispers of war began to grow, louder. Old alliances were being tested, and the most powerful factions of the galaxy started to prepare for the worst. Fleet after fleet of warships were readied, and weapons that had been dormant for centuries were reactivated. The galaxy, once united, in its decision to keep Earth's seat empty, was now splintering. One by one, the leaders of the various races gathered, each with their own plans, each with their own fears. But one thing was clear to them all. Earth's time had come, and the galaxy would never be the same again. As the tension reached its peak, the leaders realized that the greatest threat wasn't Earth's weapon alone, it was what Earth represented. The planet, once thought to be insignificant, was now the wild card in a game where every move had unimaginable consequences. The galaxy's leaders had spent centuries watching Earth from a distance, but now they were all too aware. Earth was watching them too, and they were no longer the ones in control. For the first time in galactic history, the galaxy's greatest powers found themselves questioning their own survival. Would Earth emerge as the protector of the galaxy, or would it be its destroyer? The lines between allies and enemies blurred as the real war, one for the very soul of the galaxy, was about to begin. A forgotten power awakens as the galaxy braced itself for the inevitable. Something unexpected happened. Earth's forgotten power, once sealed away beneath layers of history, technology, and myth, began to stir. The ancient mechanism discovered by the explorers was not merely a dormant weapon, it was alive, a sleeping titan awaiting a command. And now, that command had come. The explorers who had uncovered the weapon's existence soon realized that they had inadvertently triggered something far more dangerous than they could have anticipated. The structure deep beneath Earth's surface hummed to life, the energy coursing through it like blood in a long-forgotten heart. It wasn't a simple machine. No, this was something far more terrifying, a sentient force capable of responding, evolving, and interacting with its environment. As the explorers ventured deeper into the heart of Earth's long-buried city, the air around them thickened with a palpable tension. The walls of the chamber pulsed with a strange rhythm, almost as if the planet itself was breathing. Every step they took seemed to awaken another layer of Earth's forgotten secrets. The weapon was no longer just an artifact. It was an intelligence, a consciousness, and it was becoming aware of its surroundings. In the core of the chamber, the explorers uncovered something that shifted the entire course of their mission. They discovered that Earth's secret weapon was not only designed for defense, it was designed to evolve with time, adapting and growing stronger. The weapon, which had once been buried beneath layers of stone and technology, was now tapping into the planet's own vast energy reserves, slowly gaining the power to reshape reality itself. But the most terrifying part of this discovery wasn't the weapon. It was the presence of an ancient data archive hidden within the depths of the structure. This archive contained the memories of Earth's ancient civilization, and more importantly, it revealed their greatest fear, that they had created something too powerful to control. The weapon they had built wasn't just meant to protect Earth, it was meant to ensure that no other civilization could ever challenge the planet's existence. It had been designed as a failsafe, a force that could obliterate entire star systems to preserve the planet's secrets. As the explorers activated the archive, they were flooded with images of a long-lost Earth, an Earth that had once stood at the pinnacle of galactic civilization. But this Earth had known its time was limited. The ancient inhabitants had created the weapon out of necessity, knowing that their technological advancements would eventually outstrip their control. They had feared their own creations, fearing that the galaxy itself would one day turn on them. In their desperation, they had sealed their greatest creation deep beneath the planet's surface, erasing all knowledge of its existence. Earth's seat in the Galactic Council had remained empty, not because the galaxy had forgotten, but because Earth had deliberately withdrawn, hiding from the universe that once sought to conquer it. Now, centuries later, the explorers had unknowingly triggered the activation sequence, reawakening the weapon and its living consciousness. As the archive continued to pour forth data, the explorers realized with horror that they had unwittingly set into motion a series of events that would soon spiral beyond their control. But even as Earth's power grew, something else stirred, deep within the weapon's consciousness. It was not just a machine of war. It had become something far more complex. It began to question the very nature of its purpose. Was it created solely to protect Earth? Or had it been given a deeper role in the galaxy's future? The weapon, which had long served as a guardian of Earth, now began to consider its own existence and whether it was bound by the will of the civilization that created it. In that moment, Earth's fate shifted from being a forgotten relic of the past to a force with the power to decide the galaxy's future. What had been hidden for so long was now waking up, and it was no longer certain whether Earth would protect the galaxy from destruction or become the destroyer itself. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, and now, as its power grew, it was clear that the universe was about to face an unprecedented reckoning. The rising storm, the awakening of Earth's ancient power, sent ripples throughout the galaxy, but no one was prepared for what came next. As the weapon began to stretch its dormant limbs, the galaxy felt the pull of a storm that no one had anticipated. It wasn't just a political shift or a threat of war. It was something far more primal, a cosmic upheaval that defied the very laws of space and time. The explorers who had uncovered Earth's secret weapon had become the first witnesses to the storm's early signs. Their transmissions back to the Galactic Council were filled with reports of strange anomalies in Earth's atmosphere, magnetic fields fluctuating wildly, gravitational waves distorting the very fabric of space. It was as if Earth itself was becoming a living entity, an enormous planetary-sized mind that could influence the world around it with its thoughts. The energy it was releasing was beyond anything any known race in the galaxy had ever encountered. As the storm brewed, the galaxy's most powerful races, Zorathians, Brayliths, Pyrox, and countless others, scrambled to prepare for what they believed was an impending cosmic disaster. Ships were mobilized. Fleets of war machines that had been dormant for centuries now surged into readiness. They feared that Earth, once a peaceful backwater, was now a force of unimaginable destruction, and they were determined to stop it before it could wipe them all out. However, what the galaxy didn't realize was that Earth wasn't aiming for destruction. Not yet. Instead, the planet was in the midst of a transformation, one that threatened to alter the very nature of the galaxy itself. As Earth's ancient weapon awoke, it began to channel its power through the planet's core. The energy it unleashed affected not only Earth, but the very fabric of the universe around it. Cosmic storms began to form. Supercharged solar flares erupted from the planet's surface, and the galaxy's stars flickered with an unfamiliar intensity. But the most alarming sign was the signal. It was no longer a simple transmission. The signal had evolved into a frequency that could penetrate the deepest reaches of the galaxy, altering communication systems, bending technology to its will. Every race in the galaxy was now hearing Earth's call, though none could truly understand its meaning. Some saw it as a command, others saw it as a warning. Whatever it was clear. Earth was asserting its power in a way that none had ever expected. Back on Earth, the explorers found themselves trapped in a whirlwind of chaos. As they ventured deeper into the weapon's core, they were hit by an overwhelming realization. This wasn't just a battle between civilizations anymore. The storm wasn't merely Earth's awakening. It was a shift in the very balance of the cosmos. The weapon was not just a protector. It was a harbinger of a new age, a force that could change the galaxy forever. With each passing day, Earth's power grew stronger, its influence spreading outward in all directions. Entire sectors of the galaxy, once prosperous and vibrant, began to feel the tremors of Earth's storm. Asteroids once thought to be harmless now veered off course, drawn by Earth's pull. Faint tremors shook distant moons. Space stations that had once been secure began to lose their power, their systems destabilizing under the pressure of Earth's energy. And the most chilling realization was that no one truly knew what Earth wanted. Was it seeking revenge for its isolation, or was it simply trying to communicate a message to the galaxy, a message no one could decode? As more signals poured in, more civilizations sent their ships to Earth, but none could approach the planet without encountering the storm. It was as though Earth was protecting itself from all who dared to interfere. The galactic leaders, once confident in their dominance, now found themselves scrambling for answers. In the face of the rising storm, alliances began to shift. The fear of Earth's power brought old enemies together, while new conflicts erupted among the once unified races. Each civilization had its own theory, its own plan, but no one knew how to stop the storm from growing. The galaxy was entering a new age, one in which Earth held the keys to its future. What would Earth do next? Would it become the galaxy's protector or its destroyer? The answers were hidden within the storm, and only time would tell whether the galaxy could survive it. The rising storm had begun, and nothing, not even the combined might of the galaxy, could stop it. The final showdown. The galaxy was on the brink. No longer merely a collection of disparate civilizations, it had become a fragile, trembling alliance, holding its breath in anticipation of Earth's next move. The storm had raged for months, and every passing day seemed to bring more uncertainty. The very fabric of space was warping, the galaxy's brightest stars flickering with unnatural bursts of energy. The weapon beneath Earth's surface pulsed with life, a sentient force that was now more than just an ancient relic. It had become something living, something aware. As fleets of warships gathered in distant sectors, preparing for a battle they had never anticipated, the realization dawned. No one was certain how to face Earth. Every move they made seemed to trigger a new wave of cosmic disturbances. The Galactic Council's war plans had become increasingly futile. Earth was not simply responding to aggression, it was outpacing them, foreseeing their every action. It was a battle against a force that could bend time, space, and even their thoughts. The leaders of the galaxy had called for a final confrontation, a collective decision that no race could escape. The fleets, Zorathians, Breliths, Pyrox, and others, arrived in full force, each carrying the heavy weight of their own ancient fears. But even as their ships gathered, there was an eerie silence. The galaxy's best and brightest generals knew something that no one dared to say aloud. They were unsure of how to defeat Earth. The final showdown would not be a battle of weapons alone. It would be a battle of wills, of intelligence, of mastery over the very forces of nature that Earth had unleashed. The storm that had emanated from the planet was not a mere natural disaster. It was Earth's declaration, a warning of the power it held. What had once been a lonely, forgotten world was now the fulcrum upon which the entire galaxy teetered. As Earth's forces began to show themselves, vast, automated fleets powered by the planet's latent energy, the Council's forces hesitated. The battle began not with a clash of ships, but with the first exchange of energy, a shockwave that rippled across every star system in its path. Earth's weapon wasn't just a tool of destruction, it was an extension of the planet itself, alive, and interconnected with every particle of Earth's surface. The armies of the galaxy, prepared for war, found themselves unable to engage. Every weapon they fired, every missile launched, was met with a response from Earth. The storm grew fiercer, the energy stronger, until the very space around Earth seemed to twist and bend under its influence. The commanders of the galactic fleets realized that they were not fighting Earth alone. They were fighting the very essence of the planet, a consciousness that had long existed, hidden in the shadows of the galaxy's history. It was no longer about defeating a single weapon or even a planet. It was about facing an intelligence that had learned from every encounter, adapted from every attack, and evolved into something far beyond their comprehension. On the surface of Earth, the explorers who had uncovered the weapon's truth stood in awe as they watched the unfolding chaos. They had been the first to unlock the planet's power, but now they found themselves powerless to influence its course. The weapon, this living force, was no longer bound to the will of any one being. It had a mind of its own, and it was choosing to act. And yet, despite the galaxy's growing despair, a small hope emerged from the darkness. Deep within Earth's weapon, in the heart of its core, there was a pulse, a rhythm, a heartbeat. It was not a machine's beat, nor a programmed response. It was a living, organic rhythm, connected to the very soul of Earth itself. The explorers, who had discovered this secret, realized too late that Earth's power was not solely destructive. It was the power of creation as well. As Earth's weapon continued to unleash its full fury, the fleets of the galaxy realized that they had two choices: continue to fight and risk the destruction of everything they knew, or attempt to communicate, to reason with Earth as it had once been reasoned with. But was it even possible to communicate with a planet that had lived for centuries beyond the reach of the galaxy's understanding? The final showdown was not a clash of armies. It was a battle for understanding. Would the galaxy be able to find peace with Earth, or would the planet's ancient weapon become the ultimate force of destruction, ensuring that Earth's seat on the Galactic Council remained empty forever? The storm was far from over, but the galaxy was no longer certain it could survive it. The question was no longer about who would win. It was about whether the galaxy could come together and survive the unimaginable consequences of Earth's new dawn. The aftermath of the final showdown left the galaxy forever changed. For all its power, Earth had not destroyed its enemies, nor had it chosen to dominate the galaxy. Instead, in the heart of the chaos, something extraordinary had happened. Earth, once a forsaken world, now stood at the center of an unprecedented transformation, both of itself and the galaxy it had once been isolated from. Its ancient weapon, which had once threatened to obliterate everything, had shifted its purpose. It was no longer just a destructive force, it was a beacon for a new era. In the wake of the storm, the galaxy's once mighty fleets had retreated, their leaders broken and uncertain. Earth had not been conquered by war, it had conquered itself. The power of the planet, once so terrifying, had become something else, a force of balance, not destruction. The storm that had once been a terrifying harbinger of doom now began to subside, leaving behind an eerie calm. The gravitational distortions, the cosmic fluctuations, and the erratic solar flares all faded, like a violent tide retreating back into the ocean. Earth was no longer just a world. It had become a force of cosmic harmony. The Galactic Council, once so confident in their superiority, now found themselves facing an entirely new dynamic. Earth's seat on the Council, once left empty out of fear, was no longer just a symbol of abandonment. It was now a symbol of rebirth, of opportunity. For the first time in millennia, Earth's leaders, those who had survived the cataclysm of the storm, were invited to sit at the table. But this was not a world that had simply rejoined the galaxy. Earth was now a force in its own right, a power not driven by the need for conquest, but by the desire to shape the future of all life in the galaxy. The galactic powers, once divided by fear and ancient rivalries, now faced a choice. The weapon that had once torn the stars apart now offered them a chance to rebuild, to forge something new. Earth was offering not just peace, but a new path forward, one where its power would no longer be a tool of control, but of cooperation. The galaxies, once broken into factions, had to decide whether they would accept Earth as an equal, a new force with a profound understanding of balance and creation. Would they work alongside this new power, or would they continue to see it as a threat? For the first time in history, Earth's leaders, humble, wise, and connected to their planet's ancient legacy, addressed the Galactic Council. They spoke, not with the arrogance of conquerors, but with the grace of those who had once been lost and had now found their place in the universe. They offered peace not as a concession, but as a gift that came with the understanding that the galaxy could never again be the same. The storms that had ravaged the stars were now seen as a catalyst for change, not just for Earth, but for every species across the galaxy. The ancient weapon, once thought to be a harbinger of destruction, had revealed itself to be a catalyst for awakening. Earth's power, now a living force, had shown that it could protect, create, and rebuild. But with this new dawn came a new responsibility. Earth's place on the galactic stage was not just as a member of the Council, it was as a guardian of peace, a reminder that the universe itself was fragile, and that even the most terrifying of powers could be turned into a force for good. The galaxy now had the opportunity to learn from Earth's ancient wisdom, to understand that true strength lay not in domination, but in understanding and cooperation. As Earth's new dawn rose, the galaxy looked toward a future where no one, civilization, could ever again wield unchecked power. The old fears of conquest and domination were replaced by a vision of unity. The stars themselves, once witnesses to the destructive chaos of the past, now seemed to shine a little brighter, as if they too had been awakened by Earth's resurgence. The empty seat on the Galactic Council was no longer a symbol of abandonment, it was